Okay, I think it's working. Hello guys, today I'm gonna explain how the Flask project works, and this is the file db/rm that I created recently. This file contains the tables in the database. So this is the library SQLAlchemy that creates the table, and it works together with Flask. Here I put some description that this module contains DDL commands, and it can create the tables. If the tables are not created on the database and the database file itself is not created, this file db/rm, if we run it, it creates the files and all the tables for us. Here are three tables: user, question, and stats. So we will let users to register on our website. Their identifier will be username. It will be unique for each user. Also, they will put their name, last name, password, and the date of their registration will be set automatically from the backend. Also, this table will contain their the last score after the last game and last recent game, and the total score of all the games that the user played. The table question, it's the table that will contain all our sets of questions, it will contain ID, the content of the question, the answer for the question. In the content we have to put, we will ask AI about that, as we thought about that. The question will imply the options to answer, like for example, one yes to no, or maybe several options like 1, 2, 3, 4, and different answers. So the users will choose from the options and give the answer, because we need to keep track of that somehow, and so we decided to do that. And the correct answer, here is the correct answer, the answer. So we will check if the user gave the answer and it corresponds to this answer, so the user will get their scores. And the difficulty level, we will have 3 difficulty levels and maybe 100 questions on each. And the third table, stats, it's that's statistics of the game. Each stat record will have its ID, user who played, user's ID is a foreign key, question ID, which questions answered. So this is a transitional table, and it will help to implement many-to-many relationship between questions and users. Points, how many points user get for to answering the current question. If its question is the first level difficulty, it will be 1, second 2, and third 3, and the date when it happened. Here is the so-called business rules, DB logic. This is the user can answer many questions. The question can be answered by many users, and the tables start their records which user answered questions with points. Here, how it works. I import this stuff that required for work here. We need date time to keep track of our time and date when some event happened. Type extensions will help us to create the classes with and I will show later what will happen with this list. This is a Flask itself. I also used many times Bootstrap. It helps to make the web pages kind of a nice looking and make it pretty simple. We don't have to write a lot of CSS, so Bootstrap does a lot of stuff for us. SQLAlchemy, this is the library itself that helps to create tables. This is from SQLAlchemy. I import foreign key, all the required for create tables with foreign keys, and declarative database. This is to create columns, so we will map them with the data types I show you right now, and also to use our app for more for security. This is a token hex. It will create different token each time the app starts, and also to keep track of users. There is a special user mixin in the Flask extension, Flask login. This is required for login manager. These three things just to create a picture with the EDR for our database, like little picture that I posted on GitHub. So we initialize our app. App will be Flask, and the name here, quiz game. This is a secret key. This secret key helps to avoid cross-site attacks like CSRF, and it will be random token every time the app starts. And here are some configs. This thing is actually the file, the database file that we use. This is SQLite database. And to prevent overhead of the database, recommended to turn off track modifications. So this is false here. It means track modifications on the database, the app will not keep track of that. We don't need it. Here I initialize Bootstrap. Bootstrap, as I said, it's the library that already contains predefined CSS and will help to make our web page to look nice. This is the special class I create here. If sometimes if you develop something on Flask, it's necessary to do some little advanced tuning of the database. We don't do it here. This is just from my templates. I keep it here. You see this class is empty. There is nothing here. It just inherited from declarative database, and the name of the class is base. And so we just use it as a model of our class when we initialized the library. So our SQLAlchemy library. So this is a declarative database like SQL, so relational database. And here this class is abstract. This class does not represent a table. SQLAlchemy will not build a table on the database based on this class. This is abstract, and the purpose of this class is just to contain these two little functions and this property like ID, because ID will be the same in all our tables, and we will just inherit from this common class. So as you see, next class like user inherits from the common, and also it uses user mixin. Mixin is like a class that allows to add some specific functionality like this. In Flask, it requires to keep track of users when users logins, when it logs out, and registers to keep track of users. Flask uses this. If you don't specify this user logging here, the object created based on this class, Flask will not recognize them as users. But because of this, all the objects of this class will be for Flask users, and Flask will work with them as with users. So here, this is not abstract, and SQLAlchemy uses this class as represents a table on the database. So think about this as a table. This is a table user on our database. This is the name of the table, and each of these properties of the class, they're columns on the table. Like we have username, we have name, last name, password, registration date, score, total score, and this thing it's this is not a column on the database. This is the SQLAlchemy feature, which helps us in the future when we will use this. It contains a list of all users' stats, like as you see here, relationship with the this user in the table stats. So it will be back populated every time we will create the stats for the user, and we will have access. We can say user, for example Mike. I can use as a method like or property dot stats, and it will give me a list of all the stats that I have, that the user has. So it's very convenient, and it helps in development using it's used in Flask, and SQLAlchemy kind of provides this functionality. So we can use this little thing, as you see, mapped. It's mapped as a list and from table stats, and so it's relationship because stats has foreign key of the user. And here all the columns, they are mapped, and this is the data type here. So this is string. The mapped helps to specify the data type, and their mapped column, which we imported in the beginning, and here some other properties of these columns. So this one will be unique and nullable. So it means nullable false. Unique, it means true. It means all the usernames should be unique. There are no the same usernames on the database in the table. Nullable, it means it can be empty. If we add the record to the database of the user to this table, we cannot leave this field empty. So it's restricted. The name also cannot be empty, but the names might be the same, so it's not unique. This one is nullable, so we can omit putting last name. We can register without last name. That's okay. Password is cannot be empty. Date cannot be empty, but the backend, our app, will take care of that. A user don't do it manually. So scores and total data, they are initially empty when the user registers, so it doesn't have scores and doesn't have total. So here's the question. The same picture is here, but it has also, the question has this SQLAlchemy feature like the list of stats. So each question has its list of stats, when it question was played and what users played, and all the stats will be available here. And this is the stats itself, the table. So 2 foreign keys here, and also points for the answer and date when it happened. And also here our back populates, so each stat will have all the list, the kind of the user which played. So from each stat record we can retrieve the user that played it, and the question, what question was played. So we just don't need to make very complicated queries to our database. We can just say stats, this one, for example, dot user, show me the user of this stat who played, and or stats dot question, show me the question of which one was played. So here when we run this file directly, what it does, it uses app contexts, so it's required to work this database object. And create all means it creates the file of the database, and it creates all the tables if they are not exist. So here I put little comment, create table if not exist. So it's analog of the SQL command create table if it not exist on the database. And it performs this action for all these records, all these classes that specified here. They will be tables on our database. So, and this little piece of code here, it's to create this picture model PNG with the EDR model of our database, and also it shows it right here. So this file, it's already been for a while on the GitHub. So the second file I'll create it here. This is the app itself. This is the app.py. The second, I will push it to the maybe right now to the GitHub. Yeah, I created some files here. These styles, actually, I just copied from the template. I just took one free template from the Bootstrap website, and this CSS file was there, and these some kind of images here, and these scripts from the template from the website too. This is a free available thing, and I created these files. There are some, I will explain how it works. Actually here we're Jinja, another it's like not a feature, it's a technology or library or utility, something, the thing that helps to write code on the HTML pages. So I will show what is that a little bit later. So here are some HTML templates that our Flask app will render on in the browser. And these three files, so app.py, this is app itself, this is our database file, and forms. I will show forms too. So now I'm gonna maybe pull something if we have some changes. Yeah, I see some create quiz wireframe. Okay. And now I can push my changes. I commit them first. Okay, add py, forms py, and templates. Okay, and I push it to the to GitHub repository. Okay, it's there. So this is the app itself, and as you see here, I import from forms two forms, register form and login form. Let's first open the forms file and see what's going on there. So here, forms, this one, and this is a little file. Here I'm using the library like Flask extension, Flask WTF. This is extension that helps to create forms on the pages really quick, like registration form, login form, like answer form, whatever form we need to use on our website. So I can use different types of fields in the forms, like string field, submit field, which is actually a button like submit, and password field that will show dots instead of symbols. And the validators, I can validate form as well, like if data required in the form, and validate by length. And here each class in this thing represents form. So like in the database, classes represent tables. Here classes represent forms, and we have this from like Flask form class we inherit from. So, and there are fields of the forms, like register form will have username, name, last name, password, and the button submit, like sign up. Here we can add the name of the form, the validators, some rendering keywords if we need some specific behavior, like here I added placeholder, and this is inside of the field of the form. If it's empty, it will show this placeholder like username and name, password. Here is the password field and submit button, and login form has only username, password, and submit button. So this is simple. And here, this is the Flask app itself. So I'm using date type to keep track of date of events. Also for our game, we will need a random library, like a random rand int, maybe choice. I just put it here. It's not used yet because there is no game functionality here. It's just like boilerplate or like a beginning of our. It will. So the functionality currently, we can register now. We can log in and we can log out. So now the functionality is already done. So I will show how it works. So it's already possible to register on this app. It's already possible to log in to see like welcome and to log out. So this functionality I already implemented. From Flask we also import Flash. This is a little library that helps to show notification on pages. For example, the password was wrong or the username does not exist or any notifications we need. Redirect. Flask uses redirect when, for example, when we log in, it redirects to index page to home page, or when we log out, it redirects. So redirection. Render template. For example, if we open home page, Flask uses render template to use that little HTML files to show them in the browser. Request, it's to retrieve data from pages if we need them in the backend. And URL4 used for URLs building. Flask uses that. It will be used in the function and I will explain all of that, how it works. This is a Flask login model. From the Flask login, we import login manager, current user, a login user, logout user, and if some login required, we can use it as a decorator function. The function will work only if user is already authenticated. And here forms, and we begin here by creating our login manager. From this class login manager, we init our app. Just put app in the arguments here. So now our login manager knows about our app and it kind of keeps track about users. So, and here the function that helps to login manager, you see there's a decorator, little @ login manager, user loader, and this function will work if we need to load user, if user kind of logs in on the website, signing in, and it just retrieves the user and returns it. So after the user is loaded, it will be known across all the application as current user. So we will be able to use current user, this thing I imported here, current user across all the app. If the user session is active and some user is present, it will be current user always. And here, this is little thing I usually use just to make it nice. Keep track of the current year to show it in the bottom, in the footer of the web page, like some copyright, something, and current year. The year will be always current, and this function injects year to all the web pages that we have in our app. So here the actual functionality begins. This is the roles. As you see, this decorator app.rolled. This is the first role of our app. This is the root or home page. If we open our web app at this home page, this function triggers. So in our browser, if we just enter the name of our app, we can put slash or just put nothing, just enter. There's just the name, and it means trigger this function. And our backend will perform this action in this function. So what's going on here? If we see this current user, so and is authenticated, it means If nobody is authenticated currently, if not current user, it will redirect from the home page to login page. So for not page, sorry, to login function, it's URL for login, it's only the name here. We have function login below. As you see, it's next function here. This is it, def login. This is a login function. So here the Flask app redirects us to login function if we are not authenticated. If it's not happened, so if we are authenticated and we're going to the home page, we see index.html. It renders template index.html. I will show HTML files later. So here is the register function, and it's available here by this path. Also, other buttons and links on the web pages are able, using Flask functionality like URL4 that we imported, this thing, to call our backend functions like register or others. Here's the register function, and we specify our register form that we saw in our forms. And here, this condition, if form validated on submit, it means if the user trying to register and he filled out all the fields, everything is correct, the information which required is in the fields, and click the button submit, we are coming to this function. You see methods with the post request, and our functions see that form is validated on submit, and this block under this if, all this block indented here, it's running. But before that, it would just open the register. We come with get request, and we just define our form here. We don't go here because our form is not validated, not submit, and we came with get request. So we go straight to this last return, and we just render our template register HTML and send our form to the page. So this is the important thing. I will show what's going on here, because we are opening our register HTML and our form that we specified, that we defined before. We send this form to the page to work with that. And after that, when the user filled with form and click the button, we come here with the post request and we do all this stuff. So from the form we retrieve username, then we check on the database. This is the request to the database. It's like this thing is checking if the user with the current username is exists on our database. So user is trying to register, and usernames must be unique. And if the user put the same username that already exists on the database, it will show the notification. You see this flash. So this account already exists. Try something else. And it redirects the user, actually not sign, login. To login, redirects to login. I don't know why I specified username. To fill the form. Okay, in the function login, yeah. So it sends to login function, and sends to the login function also the username that the user tried to put while registered. So the user tried to, for example, I have username Mike, for example, and I put the same, and the website says, okay, this username already exists, try to log in, and it sends me to login page and sends my username right there. And here in the login function, we are getting this username, doing request. This is Flask request, it's not requests library of Python. We do request we check arguments of our request and get this username that we sent from the register function previously. If the username came here, if something in the username, we pre-populate our login form with this username. So I mean that it kind of makes the user experience a little bit better. So the user tried to register, put their username, it already exists, and it comes to login page, and his username that it tried to put is already there in the form. This is what it does. So let's go further with register. If username not found, so we go further and we create user hash of the user's password. We use generate password hash, this library, and we take our password from the form. We use this method SHA-256. It's pretty secure method. There are some better methods I think already exist, but it's okay. Salt length. This is the stuff actually we did, I think, in ethical hacking class, I think. And this thing creates password hash, and then we create the user object. This is our class imported, the class of our table of users. So we create the object of this table, new user, and for this new user we specify its username, name, last name that we got from the form, password. The password will be actually not plain text password but user hash. So we save hashes, we don't save plain text passwords, because it's good, it's not actually, it's common sense practice to save user hashes instead of passwords. And the data, so we take our data stamp, datetime now, and save it as a date of registration. And here, new user save, we use this method of this class, because this method we specified it. If we go back to our DB form, here we created this common class which we inherit from all our even user class has this common, and this method, all our object of users or other tables, they have this method save and delete. Save actually performs add to the database the record and commit changes on the database. So instead of using all to these lines every time, we can just say hey user save, and it saves on the database and commits the changes. So it makes our development easier and our code a little bit cleaner. And after the user registered, we use our login manager, this function login user, and put to this argument our new user. So our user now registered, and we redirect it to our home page. So user after right away after registration, the user comes to the home page and can do the game itself. So, and here is the login page. If the user already registered, he comes to the website with the get request first. So he gets the website, for example, login page, and wants to log in. If we came to this function from the register page and this thing was sent, we will get this username. But if we just first time here, we open login, we have nothing here, we don't do this, and this one we don't do it now because it's only after clicking the button. So we don't do this block of code, we go just straight here, we render template our login page with our login form that we send to the login page. After the filling in all the fields and clicking the button, we come with post request. We see methods gets and post, and we validated our form, and we come to this block of code. We retrieve our username, check if user on the database with this username. If not user, so somebody is trying to log in, put some username, and there is no username like that on the database. We send notification this account does not exist and redirect the user back to the login page. If the next thing, if it not happened, we go further and we check our password. This is a check password hash. Here, the place we compare our hashes. User put the correct username and, for example, incorrect password. So it means if not, check this thing returns false if password is incorrect. We checked user password and we check the actual password, not the password itself, but the hash. And we check the stuff that user entered in the form. And if it's not the same, not corresponds, so the hashes are different, we say the password is wrong and redirect the user back to the login page. So if it's okay, if it's not happened, the password is correct, we just go further and allow our user to log in. User logs in and being redirected to the home page. So here, these things that I added here, I added that thing to explain how Flask works and how it handles the request from the front end, like web pages, stuff from the browser, and how it answers for all the requests. Now we can go to HTML pages and see how Jinja, what is that, how it works, and the structure, because Jinja allows us to not reuse the same, not to write many HTML, but use templates, combine them. For example, I can open index. Sorry, this is the wrong one. Index HTML, and you see it doesn't look like valid or correct HTML. There is no header here like a doc type or head. I don't see HTML tag, so it's kind of a piece of HTML. This is because this thing is Jinja, it's in curly brackets, and curly brackets and percent and include. So we include, before this index, we include some header here, header HTML, and also in the bottom we include footer. We have this header. This is the header actually, as you see, doc type here, HTML tag, head, all the head, and body. Don't worry about this. This is the stuff from the Bootstrap template. I just copy pasted it to our project and just changed some. Let's change this, like do code crafters team, because it was from one of my previous projects. This is why my name was here before. Flask SQLAlchemy practice, and here you see we're using Jinja again. This is double curly brackets, and they allow to put links that Flask will work with. And this is actually URL for the Flask library. Static is a directory where all the static files like pictures, JavaScript, CSS, and EMG inside. And this is just favicon, little icon of our that will be shown in the browser, like in the tab, little icon. This is a JavaScript module from the template. This is to support icons, or no fonts. This is for JavaScript model to support icons. This is fonts again from Google Fonts. This is again these things that I modified. This is a link like Flask URL for to static. This is from the project CSS files. And this is a little nav bar from the template Bootstrap itself. The nav bar is on the top of the page. I will show it on the page. What is that? And it contains some. Here you see this Jinja again, like double curly brackets, URL4. This is the link of our nav bar. There will be links and link to the home page if we want to go home, want to go logging, want to go register, and want to log out. So these functions from the links from the data from the web page, they will trigger the functions, the corresponding functions on our backend in our app. So we have function register, we have function logout, we have function login, we have all this function. So it should work. And this header is kind of a pre-positioned, included before this index page. On the index page we will just see this hello current user. I told about current user. We retrieve its name and it will say welcome to the quiz game. And this is just, that's it that we will see on our index page after we log in. And after that we will have little footer here. Footer, this is a footer. It's just the footer from the template. It has little 3 icons in the bottom, like something like Google, Facebook, Instagram. They have links, but this is href, nothing here, just this hash pound. That means this fake link that does not follow nowhere. And here some JavaScript from the template. This is not mine file, this is just from free template. It was here, and this little thing is from the template as well. This is required for Bootstrap, and this one is required for this template functionality. The free templates, especially Bootstrap templates, are available on the internet. You can download them, use them in the projects. So it's pretty common practice to use templates. And here these 2 little tags, they're just closing tags and there are no opening tags here, but this is okay. If it would be not kind of the mistake to do that on the regular HTML page, but because the structure, our HTML, the complete HTML that we will send to the website will start from header, this HTML tag, then head, then body opened here, and they are not closed here. Then we go to in the middle to our index. So because that one part was included in the before, then goes this index, then goes the footer. So these 3 parts like are combined together and sent to our browser. It's done because this central part we will our app will replace, so we don't need to replace all our HTML. The footer and the header will be the same, but this thing will be interchangeable. Like we can open the login HTML, and here again you see included header and included footer. So, and in the middle, the part that actually changed. This is login page, and we have also register page. And the same, you see, it's looking the same, like only this little thing I want to change here. Instead of login, I have to put here register. This will be register page. So they're very similar, and you see we don't have to write a lot of code because we have templates. They're just included and included here. So we have always the same footer and always the same header. Okay, and what's going on here? This is our Bootstrap form. We are using this thing to use forms on our templates. This is WTF, the Flask WTF library that helps us to use it. And we use this import Bootstrap WTF HTML. And here, these are Jinja code again. Jinja code looks like that. It might be curly brackets and percent signs inside, or just double curly brackets. If it's percent signs, it's usually imports, includes, or conditions. Like, for example, with messages, we add this our Flash messages, like notifications that we have for the user. If we have some of them, here we specify, we put this divider like flashes, and we can do loops in Jinja, like for message and messages, like we do in Python, and show all our messages like notifications that we have for user. And we have to do and for. So, and only if we have some messages. If no, we just don't show here, it will not be rendered here. And with also, because we used with here. We closed here, we closed this, and this is double curly brackets. This is the things like variables or something that we use in our code. We're using our form, WTF quick form, that allows us to put all the forms that we have in our forms class. We use our form, this is actually form, the name, the same name that we send from the function to our web page. As you remember from our app, for example, this is a, what is that? This is a login page. If we go to our app and go to login function, when we render template login, we send form to this page. So on our page, we can operate with this variable. And all our login page, we put this as a quick form. We send to quick form our form that we send from the backend. No validate true, it means quick form will not provide validation. We will take care with about validation on our backend. We can leave it false or just omitted. This is just I use it sometimes true, false. It doesn't affect it so much. It depends on a little bit slightly different behavior, that validation, how it works, or the form will check validation, or the backend will check validation. So it might be just omitted. Boot button map is just to change how the button will look like. The button submit, I want it outline dark. It's just looking a little bit better on the web page. So the register thing looks like that. It does the same. It has the same form coming there, and everything is just a little difference. Just the name here is different, and also shows the notification for the user. And index just shows hello. So okay, now I went through all the files that I actually worked with. We don't have to care about some files from the project, like CSS files and GS files. They came right from archive that I took from the internet. Basically these are files I created, and I did some changes here. I'm gonna check if somebody else did some changes. Nothing. Commit this. Little update and push it. Okay, it's done. On the GitHub, so the last changes are already available. Now, in the very end of the app file, of the app PI, we see the code how to run our app. If it started directly, if I ran this app PI directly, it performs this action app.run, and host for zeros, it means run it on all available net interfaces that I have on my machine. And I put debug true, because I'm just developing, I need debugging information. So I have fired it up and we can see it in action actually in browser. Let's run python py app.py and we will see debug output. So it means our app is running, and it's running on localhost, it's running on my IP address 192.168.167 and the port is 5000. So we can open in the browser localhost and 5000. So I can go to the browser and here I put localhost 5000 and enter. And as you see, I already on the login page. So I was in this line, is this what is that URL field of the browser. I see that I already was automatically redirected to login. If I try to remove it and go to the root of the website, to the home page, from the home page, as you remember in the function, if the current user is not authenticated, it will be redirected to login page. And I actually redirected to login page. And here, if I don't have an account or I put the wrong, for example, wrong username trying to sign in, I see the notification this account does not exist. If I put the wrong password, I see the password is wrong. So my function works correctly. I see these notifications and they are correct from the... Here I see this nav bar that it says like nice name of our website, homepage, these all links that I showed in my nav bar, like homepage, login and register. I can go register and say, for example, test user, the name test, the last name T, and the password maybe 12341234, like that. And I do registration, sign up. Okay. Need to save it, and I actually, as you see, at the home page. This is the root of my website, of our website, and this is a quiz game. This is the home page of our project. We see home page here again, and this little kind of a door picture to log out. In the bottom you see that it is a logout function. This is the that I put in the home page, like quiz game. This is the three little like a footer buttons, like Google, Facebook. We can change it, we can remove it, whatever you want. And little bottom information like copyright and the year, the current year that I showed you that is injected on the all pages. I can log out, and after logout I came to login page. And I can log in again, so I have two users on the database now. This is the user I registered previously. This is a test user, I think. I can sign in as my previous user, and you see my name here. And I can log out again and log in with as test and sign in, and you see the name is test that I specified. We can I think take a look we can take a look at the database. I think if I try to this is the if I open DB, I have DB browser, yeah, I think I can DB browser for SQLite. Here we go, and here I can open the database. Where's my videos programming instance? Where is it? Looks like it's not here. Should be directory like share. media, CC, no, that's not media, share storage in my directory. This is a server. It's not only my stuff here. I don't know why it's two photos here, but anyway, WNCC and our quiz game project here. And this is the static templates are live here, and this is the static thing. I can open, this is the database. I can open it, and I see the tables question, question, stats, and user. They're our tables, and we can open browse data. We have no questions, we have no stats, but we have two users. And you see here the names, the usernames, the names, the last name. This is the password hash, what it looks like on the database. Register date, the timestamp. They're null in scores and total, and IDs. So this is what it looks like on the database. So we registered two users. I did it actually, and so we have our two users on the database. So our web app can communicate with the database, and everything is working correctly. So I created this. This is like a beginning of our project. There is no quiz game itself, but the Flask is already functional, and I hope it gave you idea, and I explained everything that will help you to understand what Flask is, how it works, how it communicates the backend and front end, how from the browser, how we make requests to our function, how we trigger them on the and what function do, how they send the templates, and how they redirect, how login management works. So it kind of creates sessions, and the current user, we can keep track of the user, and how to get data from our database, because here are already some examples. When we register, we do db session query, we do query of this table user, we do filter by username, and we take the first record. So it means if some user is already present on the database with this username, and we say to the user who is trying to register, so this account is already exist. So this is what SQL query looks like in SQLAlchemy. This is SQLAlchemy stuff. This DB is the object of the SQLAlchemy. If we go to DB-ORM, here we see that we created this object, and it's based on SQL. So DB is a handle that works with the database, and this is the object of SQLAlchemy class. It uses our app and class, and this is the declarative database. Okay, that's it. I hope it was exhaustive.